Cinemajaw is brought to you by Cards Against Humanity. They asked us not to read an ad. Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location at the Red Door Studio at Cards Against Humanity. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Rye, the movie guy, and sitting alongside us, he's back, Matthew. He is back. Sitting alongside us is our engineer and local filmmaker, Elias Rodriguez.
How's it going, Jawheads?
international filmmaker.
Yes, we might need to change that. International filmmaker. I like
Yes.
that. Awesome.
Like
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we get one last hurrah as we cover our top 5 favorite aging heroes.
Yeah, the old men, right? Like, this is a good topic, Ryan. I like it. I'm an aging hero. So are you.
I am. And then I think when you think of aging heroes, these are our characters we get behind, more so than probably any other in movies. It's when age has hit them, they're past their prime, and you want to see them hit greatness one more
You
time.
get behind them because you're afraid they might fall down, break a hip.
In some cases. I got some old heroes on my list, so
As do I.
interesting. We also have a great guest who's going to be joining us very shortly.
Yes, this will be the return of Ryan Oestreich from the Music Box Theater. He's here to talk to us about the 70 millimeter Film Festival.
Yes, the Music Box Theater, a gem here in Chicago, hosts a lot of film festivals throughout the year, but there's probably no better, at least in my point of view, my favorite, than the 70 millimeter Film Festival, which plays there. And he's going to give us all the highlights.
It's a wonderful event.
It is. Besides that, we have a whole lot more going on, don't we, Elias?
Yes, we're going eye for an eye on Cars 3.
And we have reviews of It Comes at Night and My Cousin Rachel.
Yes. And speaking of It Comes at Night, Matt, I had a chance to sit down
Whoa,
with the
where's this
writer
going?
and director of It Comes at Night, Trey Edward Shults.
Nice. I'm very interested in his career.
Yeah, so once we review the film, we'll roll that interview. I had a good conversation with him.
Cool.
Plus, Matt, It Comes at Night, and there's a movie coming out called Rough Night with Scarlett Johansson. So I thought, what better time than Ryan versus Matt Kay in night movie trivia? Think of movies with night in the title.
N-I-G-H-T or K-N-I-G-H-T?
N-I-G-H-T.
Okay. We're
Sound
sticking
good?
with night.
Night. Even though I can throw a curveball in there.
That's what I'm asking.
Yep. Also, did you see, you probably didn't see, and that's why I'm pointing this out, Brad Pitt actually has a new movie out.
No, I didn't. Really?
War Machine.
Oh, I did. I heard about this on NPR, yes.
Yeah, see, that's the stoop you have to low to, is hearing it on NPR, because it's a direct to Netflix, this model of direct to streaming service.
Well, this is
without
great.
No, what do you mean it's great?
This is great. I can actually go see it.
No, without a theatrical run, it just does not feel the same. These feel like lesser movies for some reason.
It feels like a movie I'm going to be able to see.
Forget that.
CinemaWAR.
Ooh, Ryan's going to have his hands full there.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah. So we're going to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And each week when we get things rolling, we start with Cinemajaw happenings. What's been going on?
Yeah, what you got?
And we got 2 big things going on. Last week we gave the riddle, but we did not at that point have a movie picked out for our Movie of the Month Club.
Yeah.
So we looked around, saw some movies that were coming out, movies that we are planning to review. One of those movies is Baby Driver.
Yeah.
And inside that movie, it's a great cast. It's written and directed by Edgar Wright. Inside that cast, Kevin Spacey. So we went back and we looked at a movie maybe that Kevin Spacey did that maybe we had missed, maybe we want to refresh up on,
Sure.
And we found one, didn't we?
Oh, we sure did. Glenn Ross.
True story, Matt. I have never seen this movie, and that's part of the reason why we picked this.
Have you seen at least the Alec Baldwin scene?
No.
Coffee is for closers.
No.
Oh, really? First prize is a set of steak knives. Second prize, you're fired. You haven't seen this.
Have not.
Oscar caliber performance, and it's so short. You will love it.
Al Pacino's in this as well. Here's the best part, Jawheads. It's streaming on Netflix. So join us for the June Movie of the Month, Glenn Ross.
It's a great pick.
Yeah? All right, here we go. Second happenings. You may have heard his voice already. Elias Rodriguez is back in the United States. Elias, welcome back from Europe.
Hello, thank you, guys. Yeah, I went to the Cannes Film Festival which people here told me, oh, it's Cannes. You have to be all fancy and say it like that. But then I went there, and then the French call it Cannes. And anyway, so yeah, that was massive. Unreal how big that is. And I also went to CineLab London when I was in London, which they are the biggest film processors in the world. They actually processed Star Wars, the new Star Wars.
Oh,
I
nice.
saw the tanks. It was pretty insane just to have been in there.
The chemical tanks that they put the film into?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And the dark room.
It's almost like a brewery for film.
Yes, absolutely. Pretty mind-blowing. And they were some of the sweetest, nicest people I've ever met.
The British or the French?
The British. Oh, yeah. No, the French. They
didn't like us?
interesting,
They didn't like you?
interesting bunch. No. There's obviously some sweet people, too. But
For sure.
my Airbnb is a whole nother experience.
Maybe we'll hear more of that when
Yeah.
he's been back in the jaw box for a little while, and he'll come popping out with some stories.
You know,
of
I was thinking
Airbnb.
you should rent out the jaw box as an Airbnb.
You are right.
You should totally do that.
I'll have to keep it clean though. You'll keep me accountable, Get
Yeah.
a good rating.
Yeah. Well, just do your best. I'll install one of those tap lights in there.
All right.
Perfect. Hey, I got a quick one too, man. Parker was accepted for an acting scholarship. This is my son, Parker, at the Raven Theater. Full ride.
Wow.
Yeah,
that
so-
is big.
yeah.
I didn't even know he
Wow.
was into acting.
He got the bug this year. He did the school play. Obviously he's going into 4th grade, so still young. Got a lot ahead of him, but this should be fun for him. It's like a summer camp program.
Oh, we'll have to have him on the jaw.
We should.
Yeah.
He would love that, dude. He would love
Awesome. That's our Cinema Jaw happenings.
it. Those are good happenings.
They are good happenings. So without further ado, we move it along to our guest. He has been a guest on Cinema Jaw one other time, and Matt, it was roughly a year ago. We had Ryan Oestreich on. He is the general manager over at the Music Box Theater, which has the 70mm Film Festival about to get started here. Ryan, welcome back to Cinema Jaw.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate coming on back.
And before we go any further, we have a congratulations in order. Ryan
Yes.
is a dad for the first time about 10 days ago, Ryan.
Yep. I can't believe it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I can't believe I'm here. My brain got me here somehow. I'm a little sleep deprived, but you guys, you'll keep me up. I know you will.
I can literally see it in your face. You definitely look like you haven't slept. You're like a little bleary.
Don't worry. I come and go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. As we mentioned, you are the general manager over at the Music Box Theater, the 70mm Film Fest. Is this the biggest film festival you guys throw throughout the year?
In terms of number of screenings and length, absolutely. Doesn't get any bigger than 70mm.
When does it get started here?
So we're going to kick it off June 30th, and it's going to run 2 weeks this year till July 13th. Last year we were a little ambitious. We did 3 weeks of a 70 festival, which that's why we called it the Ultimate Edition. This year it's just back to 70mm festival. No ad-libbing on that title.
So I wanted to ask you, when did the 70mm Film Fest begin at the Music Box?
In a weird way, it began in 2012, but we had been showing 70mm prints since, I think, 2001, when we were like, hey, nobody's showing 70. Let's see if we can, adapt our machinery to do it. So we would be like, let's bring Vertigo, and let's bring 2001, and let's bring Lawrence of Arabia back for a week every other year. And then somebody was like, hey, P.T. Anderson's doing The Master. Let's do more 70. Everybody likes 70. So we, threw it together, and it was really slapstick how we kind of threw it together. I mean, we got prints that were pink because we didn't know that we should be getting them ahead of time and checking them and making sure that you weren't watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in a pink haze, which is not a way to watch that movie. So, really 2012 was the first incarnation, but now I think this is technically the 4th actual festival, but it's become much more of I think we sort of legitimized what it is and
Self-contained.
creating it. Yeah, and
Okay.
it's annually now, and you can expect it every year. We move it around when it comes, you can't, it's not every year after Labor Day or something like that. But it's when we want it to come, and it's when it's right timed.
Roughly toward the beginning of the summer.
Yeah, or spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I like, too, is the variety of films, because you're going to get some classic films in there that were shot in 70mm, but there are also some films. What do they mean by blow up?
Well, so as most of the Jaw nerds probably know, there's formats. There's flat 185 and scope 233. Of course, there's a lot of other formats as well throughout the history of cinema, but don't need to talk about them because the studio's sort of stuck to the one or the other for the last 50 to 75 years. So a blow up is they shot the film originally in 185 or 233 and said, okay, well, let's release it. But, hey, 70 millimeter releases, they're kind of fun, right? Like they're a way for us, kind of like IMAX, they're a way for us to be seen in the most immersive experience possible in terms of the size of the screen. So our film would be really fun in a 70 millimeter blow up. Plus that magnetic soundtrack, our sound on our film is amazing. It's so loud. It's going to sound great. It's going to blow people's ears off. So sure, why not? Let's blow up Top Gun. Let's blow up Beetlejuice and, throw a few 70 millimeter prints out there. And, I'm sure there's some theaters that'll book them and people can experience our film on a sort of a bigger, grander scale of it, So it's kind of like before there was IMAX, there was 70 millimeter blow ups.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because that explains, like I was saying, the variety of films. Like I say, we get the classics. 2001: A Space Odyssey is playing, but you also have newer stuff like Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's movie. Also, Hook is playing this year. Is this the first time it's playing at the 70 millimeter film festival?
Oh, absolutely. Julian Antos is the guy who finds all of these prints, and he programs the festival. He's our technical director. And when he said, "Did you know that there was a 70 millimeter blow up of Hook?" And I was like, "No, you're joking." He's like, "Nope, I can get it. Do you want it?" And I was like, you need to book that film. We're gonna have a lot of fun showing that film. I just could see all the people in costumes, all screaming bangarang, and just getting into it. Yeah. So Hook was a great find. I didn't think we would have it because a lot of these prints, 70 was a thing. It was a fad. So only diehards in certain theaters sort of kept it going. But a lot of the prints decayed and sort of disappeared, and studios didn't really want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on bringing a new print to life, right? So why would they care about Hook on 70 millimeter? But one collector kept it in good condition so that Chicagoans can see it now.
That's awesome.
Wow. I mean, this is like, in a way, anybody can get a copy of Hook, right? I mean, you can get it at Blockbuster. You can not really.
Wait, Blockbuster?
Right. You can get it on your favorite streaming service, whatever. It's not difficult to find necessarily, but it's almost like a rare comic book, the first edition print. When you're seeing it in 70 millimeter, it's something special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're in a festival environment and you're seeing it with all these people who love Hook, right? So you're seeing it with like almost like friends and family. You're all the people who appreciate that film, and then you're just seeing it on this massive screen, and it's going to be super loud, and the sound design is just really going to pop. So you're going to come out and you're going to be like, man, I re-experienced Hook like I haven't since probably I was a kid.
And funny you should mention the screen because I was going to ask you this. What are the exact dimensions? How big is this massive screen?
So it's a 36-foot wide screen, but I don't have sorry. Father brain coming in.
It doesn't have to be the exact figures.
I know it's 36 feet wide, and I can't remember what the width is, but it's a 2:7:6 ratio screen. So for any of the jaw nerds out there who can just whip that out, they know it's a 2:7:6 is really wide and a little taller. So it's like it's like that panorama sort of view.
Like Hateful Eight
yes,
last year. Yeah,
absolutely. That screen. Yeah, we basically put up a specific temporary screen that's built for the 70 millimeter ratio.
It's awesome. I noticed looking at the schedule, there is one film that plays a bit more than all the rest, and I have no qualms about it because it is absolutely brilliant. Of course, I'm speaking of 2001: A Space Odyssey. How many times is it playing at the festival?
I want to say like 16 times. And I know that's insane. Who puts a festival together, picks one film and plays it 16 times? Like, that's absurd. But just hear me out on this. We found out that if we talked really nicely to Warner Brothers, they would let us create our own 70 millimeter print, right? We get to work with Photochem. We have to pay for it, but we get to make this pristine print that has never been played. It has no scratches. It has no tears. It has no pops. It has nothing. It is perfect, right? And so people who come to see our print, this is not a circulated print that's been worn down by all of the other folks out there who've played it. No, this is perfect. This is an experience where there will be nothing that takes you out of it. And so we've spent quite a bit of money on it, but at the same time, we realize that when you give somebody the opportunity to see something that picture perfect, we should probably play it a few more times. So that's why it is one film that's dominating our festival, which, you were just at Cannes, whatever. Nobody would play a film 16 times. They'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? That's not a festival. That's a theatrical run.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait to see it, though. You got me pumped just describing how pristine the print is.
I might go at least 13 times myself.
And I promise you it's going to be perfect every time because our projectionists, they are pros.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Now, I would imagine a lot of big crowds come out for some of these screenings. Is it good for the listeners in the Chicagoland area to buy tickets online early?
Absolutely.
And where can they do that at?
Musicboxtheater.com. And just so you know, 2001, that one might not sell out everyone, but some of those other screenings like Top Gun, which is only showing like one time, that one's probably going to sell out. And
Yeah.
So if
And
you're
Hook, yeah.
Yeah, and Hook, it's only got 2 showings. It's probably going to sell out. There's a lot of Hook fans
You
out
got
there.
Spartacus also playing there.
Yep, Spartacus, that's a prime showing. That could definitely sell out.
A couple other highlights. What are they?
For me, a couple other highlights would be Sleeping Beauty on 70 millimeter.
Oh, yeah. My wife's actually a huge fan. I think we're going to go to that.
Did you know that they originally made it on 70 millimeter?
Honestly, I had no idea. I mean, an animated film like that, no, I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
Yeah, I think Disney was just playing around, and they were like, "Well, we can do this, with an animation."
I believe it was their second animated feature, if I'm not mistaken.
Throw it in the jaw box.
Snow
Can we
White
throw
was
that
the
in jaw
first,
box?
and
Look it up.
Sleeping Beauty was the second, I think.
And the
Okay,
years
well.
on that, yeah.
Well, there we go. But yeah, I mean,
1948.
I'm just excited. I'm very excited for Sleeping Beauty because we haven't done an animated 70 millimeter screening, and the fact that it's so historical. Early Disney, and you get to see that on 70. And I heard the print is really actually still in good condition. So it's going to be a great experience. And then outside of that, something that I'm excited about would be, so again, this is like one of those, what? You found that? Robert Altman's Shortcuts got blown up to 70, which doesn't make any sense. But it's Robert Altman, and he's such an interesting filmmaker. And again, this is Julian's find. I mean, he actually owns this print. He found it in somebody else's warehouse. Who was like, "Hey, do you want to buy any of these things?" And he searches through it. He's like, "Is that a 70 millimeter print of Shortcuts?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can I buy that?" So we're going to show it. Why not? It's it'll be an experience for folks who probably would never have seen Shortcuts in a big theater anyways. So why not see it on 70?
Why not?
It's awesome.
It is.
So do it, Jawheads. Get out to the Music Box Theater. I know, Ryan, you'll probably be there. Even though you're a new dad, his dedication to his craft, being at the Music Box. I go there for the Juggernaut Film Festival. I see Ryan. I go out there for the Chicago Film Critics Festival. I see Ryan. So there's a good chance you'll bump into Ryan. You can say hi to him while you're out there.
Please do.
Yeah, good advice.
So go to themusicboxtheater.com, buy some tickets, get out there, support the 70 millimeter film festival. Ryan is going to be chiming in on our picks of and his thoughts on aging heroes as we go along. So get thinking of those Jawheads. But we do, Ryan, like to end all of our guest interviews with some silly cinema cues, we call them. Get to know the guest through the eye of the lens. Elias, you got something for Ryan?
I do have one. You're a new father, so let's say Hollywood is remaking one of these 3 films and your baby can be the star. Would you rather her be in Look Who's Talking, 3 Men and a Baby, or Raising Arizona?
Okay. I'm
Take
sorry.
that out.
I'm
Take
sorry.
the reboot factor out of it.
Take the reboot,
Let's say
something I don't want to see remade. Take that out of it.
Take that part of the
Okay, well
question
then
out.
let's go with Raising Arizona because it's just so much fun.
Coen
know.
Brothers, yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
But I don't want to see Raising Arizona remade because it should just sit how it is.
Of course.
I
of
agree,
course.
yes.
Awesome. So Ryan is going to be sitting in on this entire jaw. He has his opinions on aging hero films as well. So it brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye. Elias?
Eye for an Eye. Interested or ignore? Cars 3. Blindsided by a new generation of blazing fast racers, the legendary Lightning McQueen is suddenly pushed out of the sport he loves. To get back in the game, he will need the help of an eager young race technician with her own plan to win, inspiration from the late fabulous Hudson Hornets, and a few unexpected turns. Proving that number 95 isn't through yet, will test the heart of a champion on the Piston Cup's racing's biggest stage. The film stars Owen Wilson, Chris Cooper, and Bonnie Hunt. It is directed by Brian Fee, who has worked on such films as Ratatouille and WALL-E, but is making his directorial debut. We throw it over to Rye.
I saw Cars, the first one, and enjoyed it.
Okay.
Wasn't one of my favorite films from Pixar, but it was a solid entry. I skipped Cars 2. I'm hoping I'm wrong with this, Matt, but I'm ignoring Cars 3. Matt?
So first of all, holy crap, am I old? Where Lightning McQueen is now the old guy who has to do like a comeback? When did that happen, man? I mean, I was introduced to this character pretty much through my children. And wow, age really catches up with you fast. Anyway, no, this right from the first teaser image that we saw of him tumbling through the air after this crash, and you see like short bursts of the cars whipping around the turn, it was clear that they're not going for the Mater silly tone that they had in the second one with the secret agent. That could be fun for kids, but it kind of a snooze fest for adults. This one looks gritty, looks serious. It looks like a damn good Pixar film. Interested.
Ryan, interested or ignore on Cars 3?
Pixar doesn't make a bad film, so I'll see it.
Brave. Bad film.
The Good Dinosaur. Bad film.
I still saw him.
Yeah, true. Me too. I was right there.
Elias. He said he has seen Cars. Interested or ignoring Cars 3?
I didn't see Cars 2, but Matt's pitch got me interested.
See? They just need me on their marketing team.
Are you feeling alone over there?
A little bit. And I know we plan to review this one actually next episode. And
How can you say ignore to a Pixar, though, really?
I agree. I'm a big Pixar fan. I'm just Cars, I don't know. I miss Cars 2.
It is their weakest franchise of film, I would say. Of all the series, although Monsters is kind of right there, second place.
Yeah, Monsters stinks.
Yeah.
I just say that because Phil's sitting there, and I know.
That's wagging his head.
Yeah, he's accompanied me to C2E2 wearing his Monsters Inc. hats and outfit. So, yeah.
Sorry, Phil. Not a huge fan.
Three interesteds, one ignore for Cars 3. We probably will be reviewing that next episode.
Yes.
Matt, speaking of new movies, Fear, Trust, Zombies, Two Families in the Wilderness. Trey Edward Shults' new film, It Comes at Night, has a lot going for it. So I hit the theater, at night, mind you, and caught this new thriller.
I'm gonna try and help your new family.
I want to thank you again for letting us stay here.
Just gonna run through a few things. When we go out during the day, we like to stick to groups just for safety. The red door, it's the only way in and out of the house. It stays closed and locked all the time. I have the keys. It's the only set. Most important thing.
What's he see?
It's okay. Just go inside.
We never go out at night.
It Comes at Night opens with an elderly family member who is sick. What does he have? What will he become? The unknown, Matt, is sometimes a lot scarier than what we see. Joel Edgerton plays Paul, the father of a family of 3 who are holed up in a house located deep in the woods. He has to make difficult decisions to keep his family safe. He is very cautious. Gas mask and gloves are worn whenever they are near someone who they think may be infected. One night, they are visited by Will, another father of a family of 3 that is out looking for supplies to keep his family safe. After a very shaky start, Paul begins to trust Will. Eventually, the two families live together trying to stay safe from the virus or the zombies or the zombie virus. However, when you constantly live in fear, how much can you trust someone who is not your family? Tensions rise to a boiling point. Matt, this is one taut thriller. Writer-director Trey Edward Shults keeps most of the film confined inside the family house. This really had an effect on me. The only way in or out of the house is through a red door, which Paul has the keys to. This element also heightens the tension. Mix in the element of a zombie apocalypse and some amazing imagery, and you have one freaky little movie. The scare here is not the zombie themselves, but what we are all capable of when we are pushed to the limits of survival. Joel Edgerton and the entire cast working with a tight script gives us a thriller in the middle of the summer season, and I loved it.
Wow, man. I'm actually kind of sorry I missed this one.
It's a great one. I urge everybody to definitely check out It Comes at Night. I had a blast with it, and it was one of those screenings where you could tell everybody was buying into the film. And when it's a thriller and you're on the edge of your seat and the whole theater is on the edge of their seat, even better. It was like a joyride. Loved it.
That sounds pretty great, Rye. Do you have a favorite scene?
My favorite scene of the movie has to be the opening moments of the film. We see a sick or infected family member, and we see the precautions Edgerton's character is taking. Right away, when the gas masks come out, it just has this freaky imagery. He's wearing these gloves, and you just get the idea, the fear is conveyed off the screen to the audience of what this family is feeling. Works perfectly. It totally jolts you into the world that they are in.
Wow. Any scenes you have trouble with?
There weren't really any that I hated. I thought there was one cheap scene, and that was, and I hate when this happens, a dream within a dream sequence. There's nothing worse than being scared and like, oh, it's a dream. Oh, it's another dream. But that was very short, cheap little thing.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Nightmare on Elm Street style,
Yeah.
Inception style.
Yeah.
Right. Any movie influences?
Influences here, Elias, I would say Night of the Living Dead, as you can see that 28 days later with the infection, and also the movie The Road with Viggo Mortensen, in which him and his son are sort of left after the apocalypse and what they would do for survival.
Did you learn anything from this movie?
I learned that Trey Edward Shults, who wrote and directed Krisha, his first film, who we had on, Krisha Fairchild, on Cinemajaw, I learned that he avoided the sophomore slump. He is going to be a strong voice in years to come.
Sounds awesome.
That is awesome.
Okay, so let's say the movie poster quote. What would you put on there?
I'd put, "Come on into the house in the woods and enjoy. It comes at night." You like that one? Yeah, damn right.
Budding writer.
I like it. I'm giving this one 3.5 jaws for It Comes at Night. And Matt, I actually had the chance to talk to Trey Edward Shults, writer-director of Krisha and now It Comes at Night. And I got to ask him about the imagery, about Krisha and how he got the small film turned into a feature and all that good stuff. So let's roll that interview. Trey, now Krisha was originally a short film. Was it difficult to turn into a feature?
Well, it's so interesting. It was a really long journey. It was never meant to be a short. It was meant to be a feature. And in end of summer 2012, I had $7,000 of my own money and 5 days, and I just tried to make a feature. And I had roles for various family members that didn't even show up, and I just had to cut roles and scramble. And I think it was a crew of like 2, like a sound guy and my DP, and that was it. And essentially we got some great stuff, but I knew at the time it wasn't enough for a feature. And behind closed doors, I was having a nervous breakdown because the story and everything meant so much to me, but I knew I was failing. And I didn't know even if I had a short or anything. But I went on and I shot it. And then I basically played with that footage for 2 years. I never even attempted editing a feature version because I knew it wasn't there or worth it. But I took that footage and like really thought about things and just constantly played around, and I kind of bumped into a short film version of it that felt right to me and I felt proud of. And that's how I went about it. And then so that premiered at South by Southwest in 2014. And then actually right before that, I had written this new movie I just did, It Comes at Night. But then that premiered, and I figured investors would just be standing there waiting to give me money to make the movie, and they weren't, and no one cared. Some people dug the movie, and it was an amazing experience, but I was kind of stuck afterwards. I had no earthly idea how to make It Comes at Night, and then I started thinking about Krisha and what I initially envisioned and kind of what the short turned into, and how much more the feature could be and how much more depth it could have, and that this woman really deserved that. Her story deserved that to me. And then I started thinking about everything else I want to do cinematically that I hadn't done, and I got the bug again, and I got the passion again, and I rewrote the feature version of Krisha, and then we shot that in August of 2014, and we did it the right way. We did that for like $30,000 to $35,000 in 9 days, slightly bigger crew, got all, it's like learned from all my lessons and did it the right way. And that was like the best week of my life.
And that brings me to the second question here. Your first feature film, Krisha, was such a personal story. Where did the idea for It Comes at Night come from?
Well, it all really stems from my dad. My biological father got pancreatic cancer suddenly, and I had a rough relationship with him. He struggled with addiction for his whole life. A lot of that in our relationship was put into Krisha. So I hadn't seen him in over 10 years, and I was with him on his deathbed, and he was so full of regret. And it was the closest I've ever come to death. And, ever since that experience, my life's been different, and I see things in a new way. And basically I was grieving, and like 2 months after that, I started writing, and it started with the opening scene of It Comes at Night, with what Sarah's saying to her dad is what I said to mine.
Wow.
Then after that, this entirely fictional narrative spewed out of me. And it was interesting because I had images of the film in my head for a while, and I didn't know why. Like, I saw this house, I saw the boards on the windows, the gas masks, I saw the families, but I didn't have the essence, like the core of the movie. But after this thing with my dad, it was like I just started writing that scene, then everything else clicked and connected and spewed out of me in like 3 days. And then so it started with that, and then of course from there, especially in hindsight, when I was writing, it just came out. But now it's like I see so much of, like, the house in it is my grandparents' house I grew up in, the relationships, like Joel Edgerton's character Paul is a combination of my dad and my stepdad, and I'm a lot of Travis and all these things.
The entire cast was superb, headlined by Joel Edgerton. Was he the first person attached to this project?
He was, and I mean, that was also from a strategic, like, let's cast this role and build the casting around, like, that was the big thing. And yeah, he basically, I did a little bit of like the Hollywood bullshit casting where, you wait for a month for an actor to read a script, and you fly to meet them. They say you want to do your movie, then you go home and they don't want to do it anymore. And like, so I experienced that a little bit, but then I always wanted Joel, and he was booked, and his schedule opened up. And I kind of friends with Jeff Nichols, and I told him I was gonna reach out to Joel, and Jeff texted Joel. He was like, "Take the skit seriously," and Joel read it the night he got it. He was meeting me the following Monday and doing the movie, and then everything stemmed off from there. Like, at that meeting, he brought Chris Abbott, and it just all trickled forth so smooth and fast after that.
Most of the cast in your first film, Krisha, were related to you. How was it directing such an accomplished cast? Did anything change?
Honestly, it wasn't very different. And like, Krisha's my aunt, but she's an incredible actress, and she's a pro. And then my mom, my mom's another key role, family member in that. But like, she's like secretly an actress. And it was very intentional that my family could not be in this one, and I had to have a new challenge and go with actors. And the big thing to me, though, is I try to get people that seem like great human beings and just passionate and excited, and try to make a creative family as we're making this movie, all the way from the cast and the crew. And now that I'm on the other side of it, like, it was not that different. And when you're making a movie, you're just making a movie. You're in the trenches and the best to try to like build a creative family, and go on the endeavor together. That said, filming a scene with my grandmother where she doesn't know we're making a movie, that's a totally different thing.
Sure.
But apart from that, it wasn't a huge variation.
The theme of trust is prevalent in your first two films. Are you conscious of this while writing, or does it arise as a result of the stories?
That's really interesting. I actually have not thought about that like crazy, trust in particular, even though clearly it's all over the movie. I don't know. I think, like you said, it was the later where it just naturally comes out of it. I've intellectualized other sides of it and what it's getting at thematically, but trust in particular, yeah, I don't know. Clearly it's huge, but I wasn't like, this is a film about trust.
A great horror film has to have a great score to raise the tension in key scenes, and I love the score in this film. Where did it come from?
So Brian McComber did the score, and he's the same guy that did the score for Krisha. And he also did the score for the short film version of Krisha, and I just love him, and I think he's insanely talented and wacky and my buddy. And it was an evolution, and pushing and growing. And I think with this, that was new for us that we didn't have in Krisha was doing themes in the movie, and when these themes reoccur and the intention of them, and then also kind of picking a different approach for nightmares than reality, and then letting those converge later in the movie. At the climax, I don't want to spoil stuff,
right.
But and Brian's amazing. Like, I rely too heavily on temp music when I'm editing a movie, to my detriment, but it's so important to me to how a movie flows and the rhythm. And Brian just tries to break away from that and push and discover and find new things. I don't know. I'm so glad you dug it because I think he's great.
To get technical here for a bit, for a second feature film, you really tackled some difficult lighting situations. Did that prove to be difficult?
Yes, and actually, speaking to that, it was huge. Oh, also, same DP as Krisha, Drew Daniels, who's amazing, and he had to step up big time for this movie. But we were obsessed with night for this movie. If you're going to make a movie with night in the title, we were obsessed with how you feel night. And so many movies do movie lighting for night, and it's not scary to us. We wanted to feel how it feels when you're either alone in your house or alone in the woods, and all you can see is what that light shows. And we did it all practically. We had an Alexa, and we were just smart about, with our gaffer, how we use these practicals and how we did it. And I don't know, I'm so proud, and I think it's great. And so that the practical side of it, it wasn't tough. It was just like a fun creative challenge, and like literally actors have to light the scenes themselves. And like Joel will be doing a dialogue scene, and it depends on where he places his rifle, because the light's hitting the ceiling and reflecting in a certain way. So it was a fun challenge. And then beyond that, it was honestly the more time-consuming one was our day interiors, because there's boards on all the windows, but we want a different look for our day interiors than our night interiors. So just taking the time to light that and get it right. I wasn't used to that, just because Krisha, we didn't do that at all. But yeah.
Yeah, the red door, just the image of it was so impactful. Was that always the plan, or did that just sort of happen naturally as you started to film the movie?
Well, I don't know that it was written to be scary, but I certainly know from that first draft it was that red door. And it's funny to me, the shot that kind of sums up the whole movie visually is the take where it's that Bruegel painting, which he painted during the Black Death, the bubonic plague. And it's literally death coming up and taking people. And then we pan down this hallway, and we go down the hallway, and we see all these family photos and lineage. And then we get to the end of the hallway, and there's that red door, which to me is sort of this, in the movie, it's like a gateway to the unknown and confronting our fears in the unknown. That was huge to me, and that was always there. In the gas mask to me too, we're like just like a haunting image. I'm so glad you dug those. And I kind of became obsessed too with just like the idea of when you're in a mask or something, you're covering who you are. People can't truly see who you are, and it gives you a different feeling of power. It gives you like an authority power, and thinking about that, and just these riots we've seen, and a lot of brutal situations with law enforcement and civilians, and all of that stuff was fascinating to me, all the way back to like gas masks in World War I or something. And I think it's a haunting image, and it was huge for this film.
A24 bought Krisha and the rights to this film. How was it working with what I consider the best studio working right now?
Oh, it's been great, man. And that's the thing. Like, if people don't like the movie, I'm the one to blame, because they let me make the movie I wanted to make. And they were always there, and they were supportive. I kept waiting for them to let me down, and they didn't let me down. There was a time in editing before I showed them any kind of cut where I started getting paranoid, because it's not a conventional horror movie. But, they got it from script stage all the way through everything. And whenever I needed something, whether it be a little more money for score or to touch up visual effects, they've just always been there and supportive. And I'm very grateful to get to work with them.
And on that note, was there one aspect or maybe one moment working on It Comes at Night that you were like, wow, this is a lot different than working on Krisha, maybe due to the resources you had or all the people on the film?
Yeah, I think I got the majority of that stuff at the beginning of the shoot. Like, I remember the first day of shooting and how long it took just to get the look right for like a scene inside with the boarded up windows. There was that, and then just like getting used to a crew and all of that. But it was really those first couple of days. After that, it just, you go into the trenches, you make the movie, and I really cared about creating that family environment, and I feel like by the end of the first week, we felt like a family. And that, I hope that's how it keeps going, that no matter what level you're at, you're still just making a movie, whether it's a short film or a bigger film. But that being said, every story, every film are going to have their own totally new set of challenges. And this certainly have that as well.
The Jawheads loved Krisha, and I know they're going to love It Comes at Night, but we always have to ask, what's next on your plate?
I have a movie I hope is next. I think is next. You never know. But I was writing it before production for It Comes at Night, and then I'm picking it up. I'm just now starting to pick it up again. But it's sort of like images and moments have been in my head for years, and then it needed to click, and that click has happened, and now I just got to get it all into one narrative. But currently, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's more ambitious than what I've done so far, and it's sort of the family over the course of a year, and like a brother and a sister, and this two-part thing where it's like a downward spiral into tragedy, and then this upward spiral into love after that, and I want it to flow like a piece of music, almost like Goodfellas or Boogie Nights or something. And I always speak very abstractly about the movies, and I hate synopsises, but I think it has elements of Krisha, and then something totally new. I don't know, it's my baby. I got to make it, so hopefully that's next.
Thanks, Trey, for coming on.
Thank you so much, man. We got to do it again, and I can't wait to check out that podcast you did with Krisha.
Definitely. Give it a listen and shoot us a tweet. Let us know what you think.
Oh, definitely, man.
Great guy, isn't he?
Yeah, awesome, man.
Says he's going to
cool.
Says he's going to listen to Cinemajaw, and I told him we hope to have him on a guest on when he got film number 3 coming out.
Dude, we got to make sure that happens.
I agree. The new movie reviews keep on rolling, don't they, Matt?
Yes. In a summer full of stuffed tights, aliens, and action, could a small, quiet, romantic mystery turn any heads? Ryan and I set out to the theater to find out.
Look, Rachel, my torment. She has done for me at last.
Whatever it cost my cousin in pain and suffering before he died, I will return in full measure upon the woman that caused it.
She's here.
What are you going to do with her?
Confront her.
Come in. Won't you sit down for a moment?
The latest adaptation of the Daphne du Maurier novel is a very curious film indeed. Eerie, mysterious, haunting, and funny. Philip, played here by Sam Claflin, is the ward and spitting image of his older cousin Ambrose, an heir to their great estate on the Victorian-era coast of Cornwall. Ambrose, who winters abroad, writes to Philip about a beautiful distant cousin, Rachel, and how he has married her. Soon, his letters become paranoid and disturbing, and increasingly distrustful of Rachel. He begs for Philip to come and rescue him. When he does, Philip learns that he is too late and Ambrose is dead. Rachel, meanwhile, nowhere to be found, leaving only a suspicious male friend in her place. The film opens with Philip swearing revenge on this Black Widow, what done his cousin/surrogate father. However, when he meets this Rachel, played seductively by Rachel Weisz, sparks fly, and soon he is enveloped in mystery, money, headaches, and potential poisons. I found My Cousin Rachel to be satisfyingly predictable, up to the very end, which I did not see coming. You will want to smack some sense into Philip, who is the very embodiment of young, dumb, and full of vigor. As I mentioned before, there are many humorous moments in this film, and I'm not sure they were intentionally so, but I sort of enjoyed that. It adds to the mystery of the piece. In a way, there are many moments that could be compared to 80s horror, as you'll be screaming at the film that Philip is stupid enough to go in that room, so to speak. One moment in particular, when he admits that he has been a fool, was followed by audible cries of "no shit" in my screening. Again, I found this to be part of the fun. Certainly, director Roger Mitchell has brought his quirky British romantic comedy sense to bear in what is rather serious conundrum of a tale. The costumes must be noted here. All the grit and glamour of that period are captured so well in the attire of each character. The dresses, suits, and even the peasant rags seem so authentic. The character of Rachel is annoying in its ambiguity and will leave you haunted and in love, forever guessing. Is she or isn't she? Did she or didn't she? You'll have to draw your own conclusions. This is an entertaining and refreshing film, quite unlike anything else so far this year. What did you think, Ryan?
It's interesting. You really summed it up very accurately there with that review. And I wrote down in my notes here, the thing I wanted to talk about the most was the tone of this movie. It is going to make or break the entire film. And I'm not sure it wholeheartedly worked because I was in that same screening with you. There are times where people were yelling at the screen, which you do like, but I thought it was going to be more of that. I thought the tone was going to be a little bit more almost comedic, pushed to the point where you're laughing at Philip for even going along with the notion that Rachel is in love with him at times, or is she trying to, cross him at times.
Sure.
It seemed like, yes, this was going to be funny, but then at other times we were taking it very seriously. And then it was back to a laugh. And then when the big reveal happens, I think everybody doesn't know if you're supposed to laugh or be a little freaked out by it. So I think the tone, it was the whole key to it was he going to be able to balance that? And I wonder what everybody thinks. For me, it was not even enough. There were moments where he hit it perfect, and then there were moments where it slided a little bit too dramatic or a little bit too comedic for me. It was a little messy.
Disjointed?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I like the ambiguity of this movie.
The ending, especially. I love a movie that doesn't spell it out for you can go out and actually think, what do you think Rachel's ultimate motives were here? And I do like that they had the courage to throw that to the movie-going audience. And I will say, if people have seen The Brothers Bloom with Rachel Weisz, she plays very much this same type of character where she's very naive, but at the same time, there's something maybe a little bit underneath the skin that's saying she knows a lot more than what's going on. And she nails that. Without her performance, this movie is a complete mess. I mean, she really makes the film. I can't say I hated the movie, but it wasn't one that I would rush out to, colleagues or the jawheads here and say, go see my cousin Rachel.
Okay, fair enough.
Middle of the road for me. That's where I would fit.
Slightly more for me.
You guys were talking up her performance. Did you have a favorite scene in particular that?
Yeah, my favorite scene, about midway through the movie, they have a Christmas party. And it's a great, because, obviously there were no turntables or anything in this era, no electricity. So they just sing songs and they're stomping and pounding their tankards on the table. And it just felt kind of authentic and interesting. I liked that they had to do their own entertainment, and it was well captured.
For me, it was the moment where Philip finally meets Rachel. There's this big buildup, as Matt alluded to, where he is going to get his revenge against his cousin's widow, and he gets to this huge manor, and he's waiting for her to arrive, and the buildup, and we know it's Rachel Weisz, so you know it's going to be this small, beautiful actress, and here he is just in his mind envisioned this monster that killed his cousin. That build up and then the reveal of Philip finally laying eyes on Rachel was fantastic.
I agree.
You talked about the tonal issues. Did you have any scene in particular that dealt with that you had trouble with?
Honestly, no. I thought that I found it to be unbalanced. I found it to be a lot of different things and not necessarily unbalanced. So I didn't have trouble with any particular scene.
I think the moment where I was most angry with the other characters or the characters on screen was when Philip would go to this guardian who was basically watching over his estate because Philip does not own anything yet because he's only 24 years old. And at 25, he is going to inherit everything. So he has a guardian basically watching over, modern day accountant, if you will. And he goes to him sort of telling him what his intentions are to include Rachel at one time. And it's like, would somebody talk some sense into this guy? Nobody would just brush it off the way they brush it off in the film.
Yeah, I guess.
What about movie influences?
You know, here's an odd one, and maybe it's because of the Victorian era costumes and such, but I felt a little bit of Interview with a Vampire in there. Definitely the costumes.
Sure. I went along those lines, Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre, and especially Jane Eyre, they use a lot of candle lighting in the both films. Jane Eyre does, and same here with My Cousin Rachel. And I like that. And I think earlier you guys heard I asked Trey Edward Shults the same question on the difficulty of lighting dark scenes when the characters are actually holding the only light in the scene. And so I appreciate that when you see it on screen and done well, and they did it pretty well here as well.
I agree. The lighting was kind of cool.
What did you learn from this movie?
Matt?
Always make your own tea.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
That's
learned,
the takeaway from this one, really.
No, I got another takeaway, actually. Because we were talking about connected universes lately, especially on the last episode. I learned that this is not a connected universe with My Cousin Vinny.
I was really kind of hoping it was.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought maybe this was a prequel of some sorts.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Would that be your movie poster quote? This is not.
Very similar. My movie poster quote was going to be, "There are no Utes in this film."
Nice. Mine would be not as good as that one. Love, mystery, strange tea.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. That's actually a good quote after seeing the movie for sure. How many Jaws you giving it, Matt?
I'd give it 3.25.
3.25 Jaws. I'm going 2.5. 2.5 Jaws.
2.5. Okay.
Interesting. If you've seen this movie and you agree or disagree with Matt, you can shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw or write us feedback at cinemajaw.com. Let us know what you think. Well, Matt, we did go eye for an eye on Cars 3, and that is our topic this week, as Lightning McQueen is an aging hero in Cars 3. Ryan has some choices, but being a new father, had a difficult time to just sit down and come up with 5. But you know where we were going, right, Ryan?
Yes. Sorry, I had to think about it for a minute. I was like, "What aging? Oh, right. Oh man, let's go back to the westerns and think about all the John Wayne type characters and actually the characters that John Wayne played.
Yeah.
He's a loner. He's got nothing left. He's got some kind of moral code, and he's like sort of beholden to that code, and that's kind of what gets him into this sort of whatever story that he's whatever right he's wronging, or somebody he's fighting for, and he's kind of looking for some kind of community in that because he's been a loner for a while, and and just always thinking about like the fact that you're like this person, you feel for them, because they are alone and they have nothing else, but yet they're willing to go above and beyond themselves in some sort of altruistic way to like right some wrong. It's totally that cinematic story that you see so many times in a good drama or something like that. So like when you said aging hero, that's where my mind went. It was like going back to the western, where I think
That's
that really kind of came up.
I hadn't even thought about westerns, so this is good.
Yeah. I tried to get creative with my list as well, but Matt, you're getting us started this week.
All right. At number 5, I like to start off strong. I haven't done this in a while. I could easily be stealing. Actually, I did it last week. I stole your number 1 at number 5. Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren. I could go on and on. The Expendables. What?
Yeah, what? The Expendables?
You're out of your goddamn mind.
No,
right
I'm
out of
not.
the gate.
No, I'm not.
This is the quintessential
I've never even
aging
seen
heroes.
I've never even seen The Expendables.
They're all not aging though.
I would disagree with that.
You said aging heroes. They're all not aging. All of those guys are aging.
They're all well over 40. I mean, most of them are over 50.
No, Statham was not over 40 when he made that film, was he?
Oh,
Throw it in the jaw box.
absolutely.
Throw it in the jaw box.
He
How old
was?
was Jason
Yes.
Statham when he made
The first Expendables.
Well, hey, we'll throw
I
it in the
would
jaw
venture
box.
to say that
I
he's
just want to
over
know
40.
that.
We will throw it in
If
the
he's
jaw
over
box.
40, he's over 40 by like 2 days. I'm just giving you that.
All right. You guys are giving me a hard time, but this is really the quintessential. It's all the 80s action stars. Jason Statham notwithstanding, okay? Let's take him out of the equation for now. But this is all the 80s action stars, Lundgren, Stallone. I mean, back together again for like one last hurrah. It's about how old they are. They're called the Expendables. For God's sake, the whole movie, the theme of it is that the old are not useless, that they still have more to give. You know, and yes, it's a dumb action flick, but it has something to say.
I got to rush out to see this one.
But the dumb action flick is kind of like what you said. You didn't even think about Westerns anymore because the dumb action flick is what has taken the aged hero, right? Sure. That's it has it. It is in the action world because nobody's going back to think about where it kind of had its start, which within Westerns, you know, because if we were having this conversation 40 years ago, they'd be like, action? No, it's a Western. You know,
sure. There was a little difference to action and Western. Well, maybe more like 50 years ago, but
yeah, you're right. Probably more. But okay, Expendables fine because of how old they are.
And right when he starts off with
aging heroes, guys,
Sylvester
literally.
Stallone, I think he's going somewhere completely different, and then he just lowers the bar with the Expendables.
No, this is the first film that pops in your mind.
It made sense for Stallone to do Expendables. The film does not surprise you. It shouldn't surprise you. Come on, they're like. Well, like, what's like the dumbest base idea for all of us to get together? All right, let's make an action movie where we're all old for a reason.
It works. It works.
It works. Wow. Have you seen all the Expendables?
Not all of them.
All right.
I definitely have only seen the first.
I have not seen any of them.
Though
I
will
feel
say
smarter for it.
I will say the first was a little entertaining.
They're all entertaining.
All right. Let me get us back on track here. Swing it over to my number 5. This one came out in 2009, and this is probably the oldest aging hero I have on my list. And I think it's a small film that a lot of people listening may not have caught. It stars an older Michael Caine as a former Royal Marine out for revenge in Harry Brown.
I missed it.
I know.
I got to catch up with this one.
Here, I mean, this is, as I say, 2009, so Michael Caine is probably, at this point, pretty close to 70 in 2009. I would imagine that's 9 years ago. He's mid-70s now, right? So this is
dude, he's in his 80s.
Okay,
yeah.
so maybe he's 70 at that point when he made Harry Brown. Throw that in the jaw box. How old was Michael Caine when Harry Brown came out?
I'll look it up.
And yet you still buy it that he was this ex-Marine who's living in like a rough neighborhood in London, and he has a friend that's talking about how he's afraid of the neighborhood kids, the thugs, if you will, and he comes to find out that his friend had been murdered. And basically what you see in some way is Michael Douglas in Falling Down, where it just pushes him over the edge, but it's a much more violent film than Falling Down. And you buy Michael Caine as still being a badass. You still buy the fact that he's going to go around and get his revenge for his fallen friend.
Michael Caine is a badass.
Harry Brown, I'm telling you, it's very entertaining. I'm sure it's out there streaming, so check that one out, Jawheads.
Nice.
All right. I'll have to, I'm going to make a note.
I like it.
Right.
Go ahead and skip me on this one since I don't have as many.
Dad brain, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that swings it around to my number 4. And at number 4, I have the film that literally coined the phrase, I'm too old for this shit. Lethal Weapon. And I would argue that as the series progressed, both of them were aging heroes, but in the first one, it was really Danny Glover's character, and it was about youth versus experience. It was the quintessential buddy cop film, but I think it fits into this category rather nicely.
I agree. I haven't caught the first Lethal Weapon in many years. They're one of those movies where I don't know how many they make. 4, I think.
But also it's the 30th anniversary of Lethal Weapon.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been that many years.
Wow, that is crazy to think about. I'll just catch one of them, and I'll never know what number it is. But it's one of those that'll be on TV, and I'll stop and watch it for 20 minutes. And
you want to get
smile.
nuts? Let's get nuts. I mean, Mel Gibson could do no wrong at that time.
No, his star was rising.
His mullet was flapping in the wind. Proudly.
I love it. Here, swings it over to my number 4. And if I have a controversial pick, it's this one right here. Because I think the whole entire team in this movie are aging heroes. But the actual aging hero I'm talking about is a horse. I'm speaking of 2003's Seabiscuit.
Boo. You haven't done this in a long time. Really? You're going to throw a freaking horse movie out?
Let me talk about Seabiscuit.
Wait. Please explain yourself and be good because it better be good.
Okay.
It better be good.
And this is why I say the whole team.
He loves Seabiscuit. He loves horse movies.
I love Seabiscuit. This movie was nominated
There's nothing
for...
wrong with a horse movie, but why does it have anything to do with aging heroes?
What? If someone would stop talking so much, Ryan, maybe I could get my point in.
I doubt it.
All right, here it is. Seabiscuit is a horse. When they first meet him, number one, he came from this great line of horses, and they were talking about how they had ran him, previous owners, and they didn't like him, so they actually broke him, which is they trained him to lose against other racehorses. So he was more or less considered past his prime, the actual horse. Then you have Jeff Bridges, who is older, has already gone through the recession, and is sort of on his second or sort of like last hurrah to try to gain back his once heroics that he had. And then lastly, you have an older jockey in Tobey Maguire who's looking for his family, and Chris Cooper, who's the older horse trainer, who is...
They're all has-beens, washed up.
And they're all looking for that return to glory, one last shot. And Seabiscuit, as he gets older, just keeps pushing it until he just can't push it anymore. I think it's the ultimate aging hero.
And then he became glue.
Ryan, did I sell you a little bit?
That was a pretty good argument. I'll give you it.
And I love Seabiscuit.
But I'm not going to go back and watch Seabiscuit. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Hey, your loss.
Okay, my loss.
What if I told you that in my closet I have a 70mm print of Seabiscuit?
I would watch it on 70.
All right.
I don't know if I would play it for the public. Just because
They played it at Movies in the Park last year.
It's a wonderful movie.
Do not compare the Music Box Theater to Movies in the
Well,
Park.
I'm not.
Shot
I'm
across
not.
the bow.
I'm not. But you know what I'm saying is there's an audience. I mean, clearly we have Rye the movie guy here.
I watch it once a year. Every Kentucky Derby, I put on Seabiscuit.
Fine. There's an audience for it. Do I know if I want to play it to that audience? I don't know. But there's an
You
audience.
certainly don't want people like Ryan in your theater, that's for sure. I mean, Rye the movie guy.
I don't mind Ride the Movie Guy.
All right.
Just chill on the Seabiscuit
Nice.
talk.
We're into our threes. Or do you have a 4, Ryan?
I don't have a 4.
Okay.
Sorry. So you should just keep going.
All right.
All right, so at number 3, this is the one that I'm going to get a lot of crap for, I bet. But I don't know if the crap I'm about to get is deserved. And I'm just going to come right out and say it. My number 3 is The Force Awakens.
Am I supposed to ring the bell?
Yeah. First of all, Star Wars, okay? Second of all, Han Solo is back. I mean,
I
like
don't know.
Chewie, we're home. I mean, it's really about the conclusion to his story arc, and then the end. We're in the spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know why you're listening to this show. We get reunited with the aging Jedi Luke Skywalker. You know, so it's
That's the tail end of the movie. I mean, I wouldn't call that.
Granted, and I think the next one is going to be more about The Last Jedi. Is going to be more about Luke Skywalker and how his story progressed and his aging hero story. But we get the conclusion of Han Solo's tale, right?
But did he have a glory? Like, the aging hero's supposed to be a hero one more time, was
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. He sacrifices himself to try to save his son.
he? And he loses.
Well, hey, man, sometimes the aging hero loses, but
Well, no, a lot of the time the aging hero sacrifices themselves.
This is
If you
true.
go back to the Western, the thing I was talking about earlier, you see that a lot. You know, and I'm sure you still see it, you know, with the aging hero that, you know, they'll sacrifice themselves. But, you know, Hollywood doesn't like to kill off its heroes because it wants to make another movie.
not this time.
But yes, he did kill himself. He did die, offering himself for some greater good. So I'll give you that.
I don't know.
But
Hey,
yeah,
listen,
I'm a little
it's better than
surprised by it.
Seabiscuit,
No,
okay?
it's not better
Yes,
than
it
Sea.
is.
No, it is
Yes.
not better. No,
Yes,
it's not
it
better
is.
than Sea
Oh,
Biscuit.
dude, it's handily
The movie
better.
is, but not in this particular category. You're wrong again.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. What next? Bruce Willis and Armageddon? Come on, Matt. Raise your game here, buddy.
Maybe.
Swings it over to my number 3, and I have a film here. People who listen are going to be shocked because I am not the biggest comic book movie fan. But I went to the theater this year, and I saw one that I thoroughly enjoyed, that Matt Kay himself, sitting across the way with that dumb grin on his face, still has not seen. And shame on you, Matt Kay. Shame on you. My number 3 pick, Logan. That's his whole name. I don't think he has a whole name other than Logan, right? Am I right?
You're wrong.
From the movie Logan, 2017.
I know his whole name.
Have you seen this one, Ryan?
Absolutely.
Now,
I loved it.
this is best described as a film noir meets a comic book movie. You got the aging hero here in Logan, and he can't regenerate. And now I've never seen a Wolverine movie going into this, so I didn't even
None of them?
Okay.
none of them. I mean, I've seen him in the X-Men movies, but I never saw a standalone Wolverine film. So I was probably a little lost compared to some of the diehard fans of Logan. But he can't regenerate himself as much. He can't protect quite as well, but the heart is still there. It is really the atypical story when you're talking about an aging hero, and it's a bloody, awesome movie. And I mean bloody in the sense of there's some claws inside heads, bloody. It's great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm so happy that they were like, hey, giant Hollywood studio, would you let us make an R-rated comic book movie? You know, that they actually got them to say yes to that. That was a smart move in the first place. But, yeah, it was a great script. It was incredible acting. I mean, seriously, Hugh Jackman, really, he has played that character for 17 years. But talking about this aging hero thing, he knew how to take that character to the next stage. In the character's life, in probably his personal life, of like letting this character go. I thought, and Patrick Stewart was of course amazing. The two of them together are fantastic. I mean, I just thought the way that film was directed, it was very tight. The script was good, and the acting was just fantastic. I gotta agree with you. That's on my list, my little whatever list that I have. Logan.
No, I loved it. And
why haven't you seen it?
I just dad stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
you know nothing about that, Ryan.
It is streaming now, so I'm gonna check it out. But I just have one question, and I think I asked right when this came out. Is X-23 cool? Is she cool?
Yes.
Okay.
Really,
I liked her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did it pretty well.
And even the set.
But I don't know if he knows what that means
He has
in
no
terms
idea.
of the
That's
comic
the little
books.
girl.
I know,
Oh.
but in
I
terms
have
of
no
the
idea.
comic books and the
See,
importance
he would-
of the X mutant.
No clue.
See,
No clue.
he wouldn't know that her first appearance was in NYX number 3,
Wow,
which I happen to have.
What are you doing, algebra over there?
Near mint condition too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What
That's
a
great.
dork. No, I will say also the set designs in Logan, really cool, especially early on when we see the bald guy,
Professor X.
Professor X. He's alien, and they're in almost this like old.
It's like a water tower.
Yeah, like an old water tower that's on its side. It just looks cool. I love the whole look of Logan
Well,
too.
it's all supposed to be in the future. It's like 2024 or 2026 or whatever, and the future's no better than it is now. But it's like on some sort of between Mexico and the U.S. border, and it's just like vast amounts of land that are just like.
You say that's the future. That's not that far
That's
away.
what I meant by
Near
that.
future.
Yes, so,
Near
yeah.
future.
Near future.
Yes.
But great choice with Logan.
There you go. What do you got sitting at number 2, Matt?
At number 2, I have Bruce Willis in not Armageddon, Sin City.
I haven't seen this one in a long time, so you'll have to refresh me.
Well, first of all, I mean, yes, Marv is a big part of this, but I'm talking about Hartigan, the character played by Bruce Willis, who actually is very similar to my last pick in the sense that he also makes that sacrifice, which so many aging heroes do, because they give everything. He is an ex-cop, sort of disgraced, and he's protecting. And it's been a while since I've seen it too, so I'm probably messing up the plot. But he sort of falls in love / protecting this prostitute from the people that are after her. This yellow bastard character who's the son of a very important guy, and he winds up in jail. He escapes, and wackiness ensues. Visually unparalleled.
I agree.
We had never seen anything like it. And honestly, I don't think we've seen anything since, unless you want to count the sequel, which was a little disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch that scene. I mean, honestly, the whole movie's great, but just the Hartigan scenes alone, I think they stand alone.
Nice. Thought he was going somewhere else when he said Bruce Willis, but
Where
still
did
not
you think-
going there. Still not going
Not
there.
Armageddon.
No, I was joking about
Okay.
that. But
No, please
All
don't. Can we go one podcast without Armageddon?
swings it over to my number 2, and here is a Western. Finally, all Ryan's been talking about since he came on is Westerns, shoot 'em up Westerns. And I finally put a Western on my list. Came out in 2010, but it is a remake of a classic. The
yes.
aging hero is Rooster Cogburn in this remake, played by Jeff Bridges in True Grit. This role was made famous by John Wayne, who won his only Oscar for this performance. And when the Coen brothers were going to remake it, one good thing I do like about the remakes is it forces me to seek out the originals. At that point in time, I had not seen True Grit. So before I went and I saw True Grit, the Coen brothers, I did go see the John Wayne adaptation. Both good films. Very seldom do you say that about remakes. Usually you got people, I think, strongly in favor of one or strongly in favor of another. In this case, I think most people who see both films would say they're both damn good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Jeff
I like them
Bridges,
both.
nominated for Academy Award also. This is one of his better roles after The Dude.
I liked it a lot. I really did. I thought it was fun that the Coen brothers were like, let's try a Western. You know, let's see what we can do with that.
Well, they had gotten close with No Country, right? That was
True. True.
not exactly a Western.
No, but that's another aging movie.
Yeah, very
You
much.
know,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
they
right
were
there in
like-
the title, right?
It is.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, it's fairly philosophical there, you know, at the end, you know, and the kind of questions that they're asking themselves and how they got to that point. But no, I really enjoyed this one. I thought Bridges was probably did his homework in how to be the aging hero.
Yep.
You know, how to get that across to get to the audience and embrace the character.
I like that he misses, you know, a couple times. He's got the rifle up and looking down the barrel and he fires and he'll miss a couple times. You don't see that in many movies. You know,
Right.
when a character, especially the hero, takes careful aim, he hits, but not in this film. I appreciated that.
Not in a Coen Brothers movie. They appreciate those things, I think, as well.
They do.
You know,
They do.
because
And they know how to get it across to the audience.
Right.
Like, did you see that? You noticed that, right?
Yep.
Because that's important to the character and exactly what we're telling you with the story. Yeah, I appreciate that.
But if you haven't seen True Grit, the original, John Wayne, check it out. Also, I
also,
recommend as well. So both versions.
Not, I would, if I was recommending John Wayne Westerns and aging heroes, I would say go The Searchers. But yeah, if you're just a general John Wayne fan, or like you're now discovering John Wayne, congratulations. There's so many good films out there. Yes, see the original True Grit, but also please, for aging hero story, see The Searchers.
Where's The Quiet Man rank? It's pretty up there, right?
Pretty high
It's
up
one of his
there.
betters also.
Yeah, I definitely like it.
Yeah.
And I also like his first film, Stagecoach.
Have not seen Stagecoach.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Gotta put it
Go
on the
back and
list.
see it.
Nice.
You know, little trivia for you. You could say it's the very first road movie, in the sense of like that genre of road movie. Yeah.
Interesting. Nice. All right, here we are, Matt. We have reached our number one aging hero films. I feel a little bit older.
I do
What do you got in number one?
My number one came out in 2008. It stars Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei, The Wrestler.
You've really redeemed your top five. I wasn't thinking The Wrestler, and this is a great pick, Matt. Well done.
Thank you. Randy the Ram. It must really suck to be Randy the Ram. I mean, we get to see him go to these pathetic conventions in high school gymnasiums where what few fans are left come and, you know, wait for his autograph, and he gets to, you know, let's say, have relations with aging, nasty fans in a bathroom. And it's just kind of this sordid life that he's living, where he's literally reliving his glory days in his trailer by playing video games that he was a star in, you know, but they're like 20 years old at this point. And unfortunately, I think that was the case for a lot of these wrestlers. Now, not so much. I think we've learned exactly how to take care of these athletes. But back then, let's say in the 90s, we just took our 80s stars and sort of threw them away. And this film kind of shed some light on that, and it in a really good way.
For sure.
Yeah, great choice.
And I'm not saying it's just advocating for wrestlers. It's a great story in its own right, and it's definitely about an aging hero.
I agree. Nice
agreed.
pick at number one.
I would.
I keep it in the sports genre, and I think mine's a little controversial, but I think once you hear me out again, you guys will agree. My number one came out in 1986. The aging hero, Norman Dale, played by Gene Hackman, who was the coach in Hoosiers. Now here it is again.
I
It's
think
a sports story.
Seabiscuit's a better choice here. Hoosiers?
I'm going to hear you out.
All right.
You got it with Seabiscuit. Let's hear you out.
The
here.
reason why I like this pick, and I don't know why it jumped at me here, was Norman Dale, played by Gene Hackman, is this basketball coach who obviously has success earlier in his life. And we come to find out that he has somewhat of a checkered past, that things didn't go right at his last teaching/coaching job. And he ends up in this little small town, Indiana, to coach the smallest high school there is, basketball. And so that aging hero idea is the coach here. He's at the bottom of the barrel, and he's just wants, again, one more try to get this team and himself back up above the bar and be champions again. And so it's his last sort of hurrah. He's the aging hero here. And of course you also have Dennis Hopper, who's the town drunk, the older, and he comes around. It's a great movie, and it makes you feel warm, like Gene Hackman redeemed himself. And that happens a lot with the aging hero.
All right.
Minorly sold it to me.
Yeah, you didn't sell it.
Picket fence. Picket
Sorry.
fence. I love Hoosiers.
I'm off the fence. I'm just not on your side.
Well, here's the thing. I actually wrote a few down that were more heavy hitters that I left off because I thought, well, these are right on the nose.
Sure.
Somebody else is going to mention them or whatnot.
Go ahead.
I did have Roy Hobbs in The Natural, played by
yeah.
Robert Redford. That would have been my number one probably, but I figured everybody would just figure that. Rocky, not necessarily, even really the first time we meet him, he's already what they would say is past the prime as a fighter. So even in the original Rocky, he's the aging hero.
Sure, but in Rocky Balboa especially.
But by the time we get to Balboa,
Right.
absolutely. The movie The Rookie, about the baseball player played by Dennis Quaid, who made the major leagues at something ridiculous, like 42 years old. And then last but not least, High Noon, which
Ooh, a Western.
an old
Going to the
Western.
Western, thank you.
And again, you got the town sheriff all by himself, sort of the last hurrah.
I have one honorable, Skyfall.
Oh yeah, no, that James
Yeah.
Bond. Yeah, for
I like
sure.
that.
Yeah, he's returning to his childhood. It's very much about the loss of your youth and innocence.
But talking about a time in that movie, I think if I recall, like there's something where he slips or gives up, or not gives, his body gives out or something, and he like, I can't remember what happens to him, but you know, it's like he's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right. He's aged.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was like it's okay to show that.
He's not the new hot agent anymore.
Right.
Like, and he's got to come to terms with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they didn't do that with Roger Moore.
No.
Right.
They did
He
not.
just got slower in his fight scenes. You know, and it looked a little awkward. But yeah, they did that with Daniel Craig. I appreciate that. What they did there. Yeah, Skyfall's a good one. All right, I'm gonna ask a question. Could we consider John Wick an aging hero?
I actually
'Cause he comes
considered that.
back,
Yes.
from
A little bit.
retirement, and there's the whole moral
agree.
thing. Like, come on, the dog. You know, he's got to right that wrong, and he's all alone.
And honestly, Keanu Reeves not a young guy anymore. I mean, I
No,
think he's pushing 50.
He was 49 when he made that. He's
Yeah.
already over 50.
Yeah.
He was over 50 when he made the second.
So there you go.
I like it. Yeah.
He still looks great though. He
Yeah.
looks
Oh,
young.
yeah, I mean he's taking care of himself.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm sure there are more aging hero films out there.
So many.
Yes.
So
Tons,
many
tons.
aging
It
hero
is,
films out
for
there.
sure. It is a great topic in Hollywood. If we missed your favorite aging hero and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw. We will retweet it and get the discussion going. We're going to take a quick break, grab a couple beers, and when we come back, Matt is taking Ryan on in night movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at direct-to-streaming videos. We'll be right back on Cinemajaw.
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right. Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
And we are back on Cinemajaw, hanging out with Ryan Oestreich, general manager over at the Music Box Theater. The Music Box Theater is hosting its fourth, we believe it's the fourth, 70mm film festival. And one question I had was the surround sound. Very important when we're putting the presentation of the 70mm film fest, and you actually had something to do with upgrading the surround sound, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. When we were saying, okay, we're going to do this whole giant screen, we're going to get Hateful Eight, which was done on 7.1 Dolby Sound, I said, you know, I was new to the job, and I was like, I think our sound is okay, but I started, kind of pushing my technical director. I was like, how is our sound? And he was like, well, it's pretty good, but, we are of a giant open auditorium, we're historic. We're not like other movie theaters. He's like, so, we could do a little bit. And I was just like, how much is a little bit? He's like, we could do a lot. So, yeah, we put in a whole new system, front speakers, side speakers, sound deck, everything. We updated it to 7.1 Dolby Sound. I mean, we ended up spending like $52,000 in just speakers and labor and materials. But, sound is really, really important. And so when you say, hey, I want the best sound out there right now, which is 7.1, it comes along with, some expensive speakers and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, when you want a presentation that's going to match the visual with the audio, yeah, you put the money in and, you give your customers, kind of that experience and, they know what they're paying for. And we care about that.
Absolutely. Again, for the jawheads, especially in Chicago, who want to come out to the 70 millimeter film festival at the Music Box, the dates that it starts?
June 30th through July 13th. I'm sorry. So we're going to have that June 30th, July 13th. And then a week after that, we're going to open Dunkirk on 70 millimeters. So Dunkirk is not technically a part of the festival, but it will be on the 70 millimeter screen. It will be on 70 millimeter film.
It's the bonus track.
Yes. It's like, hey, did you know that there was that extra one if you waited 30 seconds more? Yep. There it is. It's now, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk.
Was that difficult to get being a smaller theater? Or because
oh, yeah. We had to write a freaking 3-page letter to Warner Brothers to state, hey, when it comes to you releasing something on 70 in Chicago, you should be playing it at the Music Box. And here is everything why. And so the guy writes back, he goes, interesting. And then
one word,
yeah. And then we like called them and like we hounded them. We're like, come on, man, seriously, look at our grosses for Hateful Eight. Look at everything we've done with 70 millimeter. Look at our grosses when we play Lawrence of Arabia or 2001. Just take us seriously. Because they just book Regals and AMC's and all that kind of stuff. But we're like, you care enough to pay X number of dollars more to get this thing released on 70. You should care about where it plays on 70. So, after multiple phone calls and a few more emails, he said
like,
yes.
Fine, just stop hounding me.
It might have been just like a get the hell out of here.
Doesn't matter. You got it.
Yeah, we did.
That is awesome.
But a lot of work.
Yes.
And I hope people come out for it.
I think they will.
Dunkirk, 70 millimeter, the Music Box Theater. I just orgasmed.
TMI, right?
Yeah.
TMI.
You're young, dumb, and full of vigor. Is that what you're saying?
There's probably a better word. Maybe one that rhymes. I can't think of it, though.
I tell you, Matt's joke just did not go unnoticed. But again, for the listeners, too, that want to buy tickets to the Music Box or find out more what's playing there, the best place to do so online?
Just musicboxtheater.com.
Awesome. Do it. Get out there, jawheads.
Please.
Wow, we did throw some items into the jaw box, and it's exciting because Elias is back into the jaw box. And before we even get to there, thanks again for Filmy and Phil, who jumped into the jaw box, as messy and as dirty as it is down there. He did a hell of a job. So
he did.
Thanks again, Phil. But let's open up that jaw box. Let's hear from Elias Rodriguez.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
What's in the box?
How's it going? I need to thank Phil. I appreciate you jumping in here. Sorry about, let's just say I'm not Airbnb review ready, so please don't write one. I really quick want to say to Ryan, you said to Matt, I believe, do not compare the Music Box Theater with movies in the park. And I have an email here that it's a newsletter that states the Park at Wrigley hosts the Music Box Outdoor Screening Series. So care to elaborate?
I can see his computer screen, and he's right. The Music Box marquee is on that newsletter.
Thank you for bringing that up. Let me explain to you the difference between a movie in the park and the Music Box Theater being invited to do movies outside in a park.
Sure.
Okay? A movie in the park is simply a little $800 projector on a $300 screen with a tiny little a bit of maybe some speakers and people coming and going as they please with all of the sound that's coming around you from the ambient city. Let's leave it at that. And it's just a movie. The Park at Wrigley is a massive video screen board that was probably cost them tens of thousands of dollars with an actual speaker system that is like directed so that it can bring all of the sound inside of that. So it's going to be a little bit better experience. Okay.
Is this, when you said the Park at Wrigley?
It's the actual plaza outside of Wrigley Field, the one that they just
brand new
plaza,
built.
I haven't been there since
beautiful.
it's been open.
It's really nice. Now, I'll say all of those things, which some people can care about when it comes to how you see a movie, how you exhibit, right? But the piece that I'm bringing to the Park at Wrigley series, and I say the music box, we're doing a little extra every single show. Okay, so you're not just going and watching a movie and maybe not staying through it. When you get there, there's going to be a little pre-show every single time, right? So one of the highlights of our pre-shows, and I'll just mention the one.
Ryan Oestreich singing and dancing with his shirt off.
I was going to say dancing hot dogs and...
All of those things could happen. I'm not going to spoil them. But the one I'm going to tell you is Rookie of the Year. The guy who plays Mr. Henry Baumgartner himself.
Oh, wow.
He's coming out for the screening
way.
of Rookie of the Year. So when you come and see a movie in the park, right? Yeah, you're going to watch the movie, but you're also going to get to meet Thomas Ian Nichols, the guy who plays Rookie of the Year, and get to hear him talk about the movie and his level of Cubs fandom. So I would say our movies in the park little bit different than your normal park.
That's
a good save, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I like
Sorry
it.
for calling you out.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you did. I really am.
I live right down the street, so we'll talk about VIP access for us, Jaw.
If you guys want an interview, I'll ask Mr. Thomas Ian Nichols.
We should. I mean, American Pie alum, Rookie of the Year alum.
He's amazing, but he'd rather be known, I think, for his Rookie of the Year thing than maybe his American Pie thing.
I like it.
Wow. So let's jump into these questions here. Was Snow White or Sleeping Beauty the first Disney animated feature? Let's see. Snow White was, and that came out in 1937. Sleeping Beauty came out in 1959.
59? You were saying 48.
I was 10 years off, but was it the second animated feature?
No. There was a lot other. Let's just go through them. Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi.
You're way off. Matt.
Jeez.
Bunch of them.
And when he was spewing these facts, you heard him. I mean, he's so sure of himself.
Well, I speak with authority.
That's why we have the jaw box, to correct Matt K.
You gotta fact check me, man. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Doesn't matter. You can see that one, whatever number it is in line of features on 70.
Matt was reviewing, this was a couple weeks ago, Matt was reviewing the film Snatched, and Matt was talking about how Amy Schumer wrote it, and we eventually threw it into the jaw box. And somebody on Twitter out there was basically live tweeting while they were listening to the episode. They're like, I don't think Amy Schumer wrote this. And it wasn't until the jaw box segment midway through the show that comes on and says, Matt, you goof. You made another mistake.
It happens, guys.
The next question was, how old was Jason Statham during the first Expendables movie? Was he over 40? He was 43.
Wow.
So
Ryan Oestreich strikes out again.
See, I was right about that one.
What was my first strikeout?
Well, the movie's in the park. But you came back and you claimed champion.
Yeah, that wasn't a strikeout.
It wasn't a strikeout.
It was a foul
It was
ball.
it was
a foul tip.
Full count.
There was a replay, and I was righted.
Yes. Very cool tidbit for me. Jason Statham and I share the same birthday, July 26th.
That is cool.
Yeah. How old was Michael Caine during Harry Brown? 76.
Even older. I was saying early
Jeez.
70s, 76, closer to 80.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I heard he's still robbing banks.
And wait, what year was that?
That came out.
That was 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
Man.
So if my math is correct, he's in his
So he's
80s.
Yeah, I had it up here. He's 84, right?
There you go.
Plus 7 or 8. Anyway, that's it.
Long live Michael Caine.
Nice. We got some feedback.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I believe we
did.
have some feedback, did we not?
We did, yes. So Liam wrote, really love the podcast. Been listening for about a year now, and I think it's great. Just want to reach out and say hi, and that I was at Cannes for the fest and spotted a pic on the Cinemajaw Instagram feed taken at the American Pavilion. Had I seen the laptop while I was there, I would have stopped by and said hi to Elias. Anyhow, great work with the podcast. Look forward to listening to more as they come.
Thank you, Liam.
That's
Thank you,
awesome.
Liam.
That's a misconnection there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was cool because Elias had posted this really neat picture on our Instagram of the Cinemajaw. He's got like his laptop with the Cinemajaw sticker, and he's sort of sitting there working with Cinemajaw.
Yes,
sticker.
and in the background, you
That's
can see the French Riviera a little bit. But yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for reaching out, and that's really cool. I believe he's from the UK. Awesome to hear from listeners always.
Also, on Twitter, Alex, I'm probably going to butcher his last name. I've butchered names on the show, and heavens forbid here. I'm just going to say Alex Starhersky wrote, "You guys are killing me with this episode. Unbreakable, Matt K, is not a superhero origin story. It's the superhero origin story."
Thank you.
He goes on to say, also, I hate to ruin the surprise, but the second film in that series is already out. The recently announced Glass will be the third in the series.
The second film's already out.
Yeah, the second
so
film.
is he saying Shattered, or what was it called? I'm sorry.
Split is the second film, and
Right.
Glass is going to be the
And
third.
Glass will be the third.
So,
Yeah.
But we were arguing about the origin story and Unbreakable.
Certainly an origin story. Thank you. Vindicated. Vindicated.
Yes. Please, if you have feedback, you can always reach us at feedback@cinemajaw.com or shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw. We're always available. Was that everything, Elias?
That was all.
Get back in that jaw box.
Will do.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR, it works like this. Me and Matt, we fight on a topic every single week. Our guest and jury this week, Ryan Oestreich, has to listen to these arguments and tell our listeners who he thinks won the CinemaWAR. And it's important because we're fighting for jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. Netflix, direct streaming movies. Elias, tell the jawheads at home what today's CinemaWAR topic is.
Today's CinemaWAR topic, with Brad Pitt's latest film, War Machine, opening directly to Netflix, it got us thinking, is there a stigma attached to the Netflix model of direct-to-stream movies? Matt, you'll be fighting for no, there is no stigma. A movie is a movie. Rye, you'll be fighting for yes, there is a stigma. They don't feel the same. Let this streaming CinemaWAR begin.
Matt, the year is 2017. Streaming is king. But having a movie go direct to streaming on Netflix, not so much. Most of this can be blamed on Netflix's poor choices to start this business model. More on that in a second. But also the lack of advertising these films get. Part of the fun as a moviegoer is the hype leading up to a big film. With a direct-to-Netflix title, there is zero of that.
Well, you've done it. You've picked the exact right topic to argue with the exact right guest to argue it too. How can I possibly win an argument about movie formats with Ryan Oestreich, one of the voices behind the 70mm Film Festival, as the judge? Well, I'll tell you how I'm going to win. It isn't about which format is better. It's about, is there a stigma attached to movies that are released to the stream first? And the answer is no, at least not with audiences. With audiences, content is king. Format be damned.
Matt, if Netflix wanted this model to work, then maybe they should not have gotten with Adam Sandler to be their first big name to make movies exclusively for them. Sandler's movies are so bad, they feel like direct-to-video or TV titles already. This adds to the stigma, does not break it in any way.
Listen, I'm sure I would rather see 2001: A Space Odyssey in 70mm on a glorious big screen at the Music Box Theater, but if my only option to see a film like that was through a streaming device with today's Retina screen technology and surround sound headphones, I'd rather see it in that format than not see it at all. Netflix helps film reach a wider audience, and that helps film overall.
Okay, but look at this. Netflix's biggest competitor is doing it right, and it makes them look silly. Amazon Studios is pouring money into films that they are distributing to theaters with a normal theatrical run. Then, 6 months down the road, they have exclusive rights to them. Casey Affleck just won Best Actor for Manchester by the Sea, an Amazon title. No stigma there.
I think you just proved my point, actually. You Seabiscuited that one. Let's not forget, Ryan, that film is an art form. it's an art form, and if we were discussing painting, would it matter if a painting was 60 feet tall on the side of a building or the size of a postage stamp, or would the genius of the brushstrokes come through despite the format? The reason paintings like Mona Lisa are the most famous of all time is because of the wide audience it has reached through being reproduced in so many formats over the eons, and the same is true with film.
I wasn't making a point for you. I was saying they released them in the theater, unlike Netflix. My last point here, Matt, is by releasing a movie directly to Netflix, it feels the same as a miniseries or comedy special. It does not feel like a proper big-budget movie. And being a fan of movies, like we all are here, we want a feeling of a movie opening to be special. Until they start releasing these in the theaters first, I look at them differently. There is a stigma.
No stigma. Ryan, another Ryan, with Amazon Studios winning an Oscar last year, it's not a matter of if, but when big award shows will recognize films that were released first on streaming services, period. Any stigma that exists is antiquated, and soon will have to be abolished. It's really just simple math, and I say good. There may even be new things that can be done with the art form that are exclusive to streaming. So I say open up art to all forms and formats and get it into the hands of potential future filmmakers.
We are button heads here on CinemaWAR, like we do each and every week. We throw it to our guest, our jury, Ryan Oestreich. What did you think of this CinemaWAR?
Okay. Thank you for
pandering,
talking.
This is.
I just need to think
really
about
quick,
your
because I don't want to pander. This is a good topic to discuss, right?
It
Ryan?
is. It is absolutely a good topic.
It is.
And I want to understand the Cinemajaw listeners. You know, I have to assume there's not a listener out there who has not either consumed a movie through some streaming service, and or consumed a movie through the theatrical experience, and probably everything else. They might have laser discs. They might still have their VHS. They might even have a Betamax. Shit, I don't care. They're seeing movies the way they can see movies, and sometimes they're doing it in ways that they appreciate, and sometimes they're doing it in ways that they're probably nostalgic for, and other times they're doing it in ways that they're saying are better for them, for that movie, and the way they wanted to. But no matter what, they're seeing movies. Right, and they're listening to this podcast for the movies. So, the argument that you've brought to me is difficult, because for me, I'm always about: are you seeing movies? Are you watching films? Are you making sure that the people who spent years of the creative process to put into this medium they're being found, they're being watched? However, it pains me that a film can't get the opportunity to be seen on the big screen. And so the argument is a little limited when you say Netflix versus theatrical experience, because Netflix has made it so completely clear they don't care about the theatrical experience. And this is some insider information, but they literally don't care that you're a movie theater and you say, hey, I'm a movie theater. I could make you a little extra money by showing your film and paying you rights, right? I'm going to give you a cut of the box office receipts. That's how movie theaters work. Let me show War Pigs. Is it War Pigs?
War Machine.
War Machine, whatever. War Pigs is a Black Sabbath song. Sorry, guys. War Machine. Hey, can I play War Machine? Because I know there's an audience that would pay to see it together in a communal space on the big screen of the music box, right? So I know that even though they could probably watch it at home on Netflix, or even maybe watch it there first and then come to the screen, hey, Netflix, would you just let me make you a little bit of extra money? Because it's probably not going to lose you any money, because those people either have their Netflix or don't have their Netflix. Here's the response. Nothing. There's no response. They could not give a shit if you want to show their film in other places, right? That irks me. That says to me that they are so ingrained in their movie theaters and the format that created what we are today for cinema and what has evolved it to, that it bothers me. with Netflix. It really bothers me in terms of what I do and what I care about with cinema. Because for me, most of the movies that I've probably seen in my life haven't been in theaters. So I understand the importance of accessibility and seeing movies in any way possible way you can. But there is so much special. There's something so special about the communal aspect of seeing a movie in the theater that I think is lost when people can't do that. So in this argument of Netflix versus movie theaters, I think Netflix needs to lose because of their philosophy towards it.
Is that the win he's claiming?
I guess it is.
I'm claiming a win.
However,
I need to claim a win.
however,
You do need one.
However,
Oh, there's a however.
Yeah.
okay, in their algorithms, right, and in their fanciful little ways that they get you to see movies that you hadn't seen, right? Without Netflix, I don't know if there's as many filmgoers out there that would appreciate Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation.
That's a good point.
And it's an incredible movie.
Love it.
And so many more people saw it because of what Netflix did with their stupid algorithms and their ways of saying, you need to see this. They took that video store model of the video store clerk's picks.
Yeah, the staff
right?
picks, yeah.
Right? And I loved the staff picks. I spent so much fucking time in the rental store when I was a kid. Oh, my God. My summers
Dave
were
was
not...
a genius, right? His
Yeah.
picks were always the best.
Yeah, well, Jeff's was better, but thank you. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying. So I have to... Netflix is important, and the accessibility of cinema is important, and all of that kind of stuff. I just think their attitude to movie theaters is wrong.
Hey, I'll take the win.
And it really frustrates
It's
me
great.
and bothers me because everybody's going to say the death of the movie theaters. It happens every decade or 2 decades. Something's going to kill us. Something's going to knock us out. Nothing is going to knock us out. The only thing that's going to knock us out is us ourselves doing a shitty job in how we present films and how we treat our customers. We're the only people that are going to knock us out. And I think people want to see movies together. People want to see movies like-minded people who love cinema. And it doesn't mean like-minded in the sense of their politics, their religion, or any of that bullshit. In the sense that they love movies. That's what they like together.
What I'm so glad about
I
is
love this passion
I do
he
too.
brings to the table.
And I also love that I won in a landslide. It wasn't even close.
Well, dude, if you didn't, I mean, come on, talk about a softball. Jesus, if you didn't win this argument, I'd be genuinely worried for you, man.
I mean, just one in a landslide. This makes up for like 10 weeks. This is so good. Woo!
I think I put up a decent argument at least.
You did, Matt K. My quick rant is going to be this, and it's mainly because what Ryan just talked about, and that Ryan works over at the Music Box Theater and has this passion for it. Me and Matt were just at a screening of Wonder Woman, and nowadays it's becoming more and more increasingly popular to have cocktails at the theater, food at the theater, and not just popcorn anymore. I mean, we're talking wings. Somebody's got a filet mignon. I don't know what the hell's going on here anymore. People, go to the movie to watch the movie, please.
Yeah, eat dinner ahead of time.
And if you are going to bring in some bag that's going to take you 20 minutes to open, maybe open it before the movie theater starts. Think of your other fellow patrons in the theater, and don't be a total jackass and ruin the movie for people who really want to hear what's going on in the picture.
You know, I don't mind a bag of chips, okay? But when you're ordering like a full order of tacos and a waiter comes to your chair during the freaking movie,
it's too much.
That's too much.
Working in a movie theater, I've seen and heard everything. Seriously, seen and heard everything. And so, yes, I don't get some people.
Yeah.
Most people are just fantastic. Most people just come in and they watch the film. But, you know, there's like a guy who's like, I'm going to go to the liquor store on my way in and I'm going to get some beers. Okay, I get that. Well, why the fuck did you get a glass bottle 6-pack, right? And then continue to drink it to the point where you started kicking down the glass bottles, rolling down a steep sloped floor. So it's just ding, 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 ding. And like, I'm trying to watch a movie here. And you not only did you bring in something from the outside, you brought in something that you could be dangerous. You could just break that and it makes the most noise. So it's like, there's some things that happen to movie theaters kind of ruins the experience for others and drives somebody, an operator like myself, just nuts.
Or people, I know there's various movie-going levels, right? There's people that are just out to be out and enjoy a Friday night out. I'm not going to harp and say I'm in the right and they're in the wrong. But, there are people in the movie theater that actually do care about just watching the movie. And then you have people, like you say, are ordering, a 6-course meal and, there's a waiter and there's
the poo-poo platter. It comes out on fire.
Yeah, they can't get the
baked
champagne
Alaska.
bottle open. It pops open and spills all over you. Slow down here with the movie-going experience. Let's remember, movies first. Everything else is secondary, right?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Last thing on this topic, I actually think Alamo Draft House does it pretty well because they will bring the food to your chair, but they do everything before the movie plays. If your order isn't there before the movie starts, they might sneak in real low and hand it to you, but for the most part, that's over by the time the movie starts. You can't order anything else.
Yeah, and they call their servers ninjas for a reason because they want them to be stealth, quiet. You don't even notice them.
Yeah. Every time I've been there, I lost my wallet.
Unrelated.
Right. Unbelievable. Brings us to trivia.
All right. I'm ready. Phone is off.
As I mentioned, and we reviewed on the show, It Comes at Night. Seek this one out, Jawheads. Also, Rough Night is coming out with Scarlett Johansson. So we are playing night movie trivia. Ryan, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on a question, you get one trip to the ER for Elias Rodriguez.
I'm feeling bad about that loss for you, so you can go first.
Don't. He's on an epic losing streak. I've got like 10 in a row, so it's okay.
Still going to let you go first.
That's fine.
All right, question one over to Matt K. Matt, the year was 1997. The cast, Mark Wahlberg, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julianne Moore. The director, Paul Thomas Anderson. Name that movie.
PTA, what year?
Unbelievable.
I know.
1997.
This is the first question. 97. Say the cast one more time. You read it really fast.
Mark Wahlberg, Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Boogie
Julianne Moore.
Nights.
1-0, Matt K. Gave us a scare.
Gave me a scare.
That's a great movie.
It is.
I love that film. I mean, it's like it's almost like Full Metal Jacket, where the first part of that film is so much different than the second part of that film. In the sense of the tone and what the characters go through.
Yeah, it's a nice arc.
Yeah.
Question two over to Ryan Oestreich. Ryan, this actor played a cameraman in 2014's Nightcrawler, in which he pushed the boundary of ethics. Name him.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Great film.
1-1. Question three over to Matt K. Matt, in 2007, Josh Hartnett and some vampires made this movie set in Alaska. Name it.
Famously adapted from the Steve Niles graphic novel, 30 Days of Night.
Everyone perfect so far. Back over to Ryan. Question four. Name the 1982 comedy that starred Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton. It was directed by a young Ron Howard.
Can I get a clue?
Whoa! Question number 4, trip to the ER. Elias Rodriguez, what was the name of that 1982 comedy?
Your clue is working later hours.
We are playing night movie trivia.
Night Shift?
2-2. I like it. 2-2. Keeps it tight. Question 5 over to Matt K. Matt, name the actor who played Mr. Tibbs in the 1967 film In the Heat of the Night.
This is question number 4?
Question number 5.
1967, Mr. Tibbs. Any other info given on that?
In the Heat of the Night. There's a very famous line, I believe it goes, "They call me Mr. Tibbs."
Didn't they make a TV show out of that?
Was a TV show entitled In the Heat of the Night?
I think so. I mean, am I wrong about that? Am I thinking of the wrong thing?
There was a TV show In the Heat of the Night that starred Archie Bunker.
Yeah, that's exactly
Are
what I
the
was thinking
two
of.
related, though? I don't think so.
What's his name? He's got the actor. He's got his first name.
All right,
is
well, that's the television show. We're looking for the actor here. He was not. This actor was not in the television show.
It's not Archie Bunker.
No.
Because that's who I would have guessed. All right, fine. I guess I better go to the ER.
Whoa! Trip to the ER. Question number 5. Elias Rodriguez. What was the name of the actor who played Mr. Tibbs?
Your clue is guess who's coming to dinner? SP, not salt and pepper.
Sidney Poitier. I'll
3-2.
say.
This is big. Both lifelines used up. We got to go perfect here. Ryan, question 6 over to you. In 1998, Harrison Ford and Anne Heche starred in a film in which they survive a plane crash on a South Pacific island. Name the movie.
I'm going to get the 7 and the 6 messed up. I know I am. 6 Days, 7 Nights.
3-3. I like this ball game.
I would not have known that at all.
No clue?
Not even a clue.
Working in a movie theater, you see everything.
Yeah, you pick a few things up. I've never even heard of that movie.
Wow.
It's good that you haven't.
I was about to say. All right. Here it is. 3-3, 2 questions left. Question 7 over to Matt K. Matt, Owen Wilson starred in Midnight in Paris. Which actress played his fiancée in the film? Owen Wilson, Midnight in Paris. Which actress played his fiancée in the film? It's directed by the great Woody Allen.
Yeah, I know.
Matt does not catch all of Mr. Allen's work.
No, I don't. I missed this one.
It was a good one.
I did see, what was the magic one called again?
Magic one.
Yeah. It had, what's her name? And the King's Speech. My God, I'm totally...
Yeah, Colin Firth.
Colin Firth and...
Scarlett Johansson?
No. Emma Stone.
Oh, Emma Stone, you're right, yeah.
Oh, I missed that one.
I think that had night in it as well, if I'm not completely off on that. What the hell? Who was this
Midnight
starlet?
in Paris.
Midnight in Paris. Yeah, I don't know.
Owen Wilson and who? Any guess? We need something here.
All right, I'm going to say, I mean, Alan likes to reuse people, so was that also Emma Stone?
Incorrect. Ryan, you can take a commanding lead here.
Rachel McAdams.
That is correct. He takes the lead 4-3, and the last question is over to him, so he can win it on a walk-off or give Matt a chance to tie it up. Last question to you, Ryan. Name the 1934 romantic comedy that starred Clark Gable and was the first movie to win all 5 major Academy Awards: Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. The gauntlet is down. 1934.
Repeat the question.
Name the 1934 romantic comedy that starred Clark Gable and was the first movie to win all 5 major Academy Awards: Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. You can cut the tension in this room with a knife. Just had a kid 10 days ago. It looked like he was deep in thought, but he was sleeping.
He didn't go through labor, though. I mean...
yeah, but I was awake the whole time.
Yeah.
What the hell is a movie with night in its title?
Wow. Ticking down here.
All right. Go ahead.
No guess? No guess,
Throw
Ryan?
something out, man.
Okay. All About Eve?
Incorrect. All About Eve Night?
See, I would have said Gone with the Wind, right? That's the first thing that pops into my mind.
But there's no night in
There's
the
no
title,
night in
so
the
that's why I
title.
said All About Eve. Like maybe Eve is a play on night. I don't know.
I didn't even catch that. Wish I hadn't gone to the ER, you know?
Yeah, me too. So wasted.
Although I would not have gotten Sidney Poitier on that question. I just wouldn't have come up with it.
Any guess here, Matt K? This is for the win. Ryan's leading 4-3. You can tie it, or we have a winner.
Night Moves. Got nothing.
Incorrect. It happened, guys. It happened one night.
I knew it. I did.
It's a classic.
You still win.
Yeah,
I know,
he wins this
but
one,
like-
4-3.
But I should have said that.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I
should've
know
gotten
that. I don't know why I didn't think that.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Dad brain.
It is a classic.
Yes,
it's
I've seen it.
absolutely
It's
classic.
a romantic comedy
I literally
that's a
booked
must-see.
that film in the last year. And I just didn't think of it.
There you go.
This is good. Next time you come, can you be completely sleep deprived too? Because I'm pretty sure last time you were on, you just slaughtered me in trivia.
Hey, Ryan wins this one. Can we get a gentleman's handshake?
Absolutely.
Of course.
All right, 4-3.
Well done, sir.
You as well.
If it came down to a tie, this question would have been over to Matt Kay, shockingly.
Oh, okay.
Better nightmare movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas or A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Elm Street.
What?
Before Christmas, believe it or not. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay. The real
What is your value of judgment?
He does this all the time.
every week. All right. The real jawbreaker
It
was
doesn't matter
this.
what I guess. It's always wrong.
Age of Sidney Poitier.
Ooh.
Closest to. I was going to say dead or
Age
alive. He is
in
alive.
that movie?
No, he is alive.
Age now.
How old is he now?
Today.
Today. Ryan, do you got to guess?
89.
Lock him in at 89. Matt, you got to guess?
That's a solid guess. Man, he is old.
I don't know what Matt's doing over there, looking at his hands. I mean,
So I'm doing math. That's how
looks
sad
creepy.
it is.
Yeah.
What'd you say, 89?
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. I will say, I'll say 87.
Give that one to Ryan Oestreich.
Ooh.
90.
Wow.
90 years old for Sidney Poitier. Still going.
That's great.
Yeah. Hope he keeps going.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an
treasure.
old dude. He
He
is a treasure. He is
He is.
definitely a treasure.
Boy, the end of a Jaw again? How does this keep happening?
Well,
Every
all good
week,
things. All good
every
things.
week they end up coming to an end, and I get sad.
We could just keep talking if you
Yeah,
want.
I guess, you
After
know.
the mics turn off.
Then Ryan would be upset with us, and,
I'm just going to pin a lavalier to your shirt. Just go home, pretend you're still on Cinemajaw.
good times. First and foremost, we got to thank our guest, Ryan Oestreich. Please get out there and support the Music Box Theater. Ryan, thanks for coming on Cinemajaw.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
And congratulations again.
Thanks.
Yeah, congrats.
Yes. We also got to thank all our sponsors.
Yeah, thanks to all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
We also have to thank the best engineer in the biz, Elias Rodriguez.
Thanks, fellas. It's great to be back.
Welcome back, dude.
Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay.
And keep on jawing about the movies.